I've somehow moved through the fishing industry and a career in fishing, making money in fishing. And it's almost been sneaky, if you will. I wasn't thinking I would ever make money in fishing or fishing was going to be a career. I never believed that for a second. It was always a dream that it could happen, but I just never imagined it would ever happen. I don't see anybody here. Nobody. Flats class started out as an in-person fishing school. And John Oliverio, the founder of Power Pole, encouraged me after I showed him kind of a, if you will, a blueprint of how I wanted to do it. And my explanation to him is, I want to design a fishing school for inshore anglers that would encourage them to fish with me as a guide, and it would build the clientele that I wanted. I wouldn't be relegated to throwing a cast net in Tampa Bay every day, and I could have a higher caliber client that wanted to learn and put more emphasis on learning how to do it than just the end result of catching fish, cleaning fish, and that's it. So I didn't want to be a harvest only business. I wanted to be an educational themed guide business, which really had never been done. There was no fishing coaches. I was it. That all started in like 2001. Yeah, we can walk around and talk about a few things. This is a piece that I'm proud of. This is from the EAA reservoir. Many of you know that I'm on the board at Captains for Clean Water, and some of us, when they did blew the hole open for that reservoir so that we could keep the water flowing south to the glades, we were presented with that, so that was very nice. This is something that Flip Pallet had made for us for when we were married. He made these flies as corsages for my son and I, because my son was my best man. And Flip tied these because these were the colors that were in the wedding. We got married right there at the Islander in Islamorada, Florida. This is a cool old picture. My son runs my business basically now. He's responsible for everything, but this is my son at about 3 years old, standing in the yard, trying to learn how to fly fish. Those were some great memories. And to think that that little guy there is directly responsible for what I do now. It's crazy. He was going down the shoreline. I could see him cruising that shoreline. I mean, he was blazing. Did not think he was going to do it. Wow. Whoa. That is a fired up fish. All right.
little bit of the way Florida fishing used to be, where you could just move slowly down mangrove shorelines and see fish as the tide's coming in, and they'd just move gently. And if you made a good cast, you'd catch them every time. Now it's gotten a lot harder in today's world, but it still happens. Many think it does not, but it still happens.
Fishing has a special significance to me. It's not only my livelihood that I've made a career out of, but even on my downtime, I'm fishing. I spend every vacation fishing. I fish with friends, I fish with family. I spend a lot of time now fishing with my wife as we've gotten closer to the end of my career. Really love to see through her eyes all the things that happen on the water and how excited she gets. But to me, every time I back the boat down the ramp, unhook the bow strap, push it, and it slides down off the bunks, and I hear the transom make that telltale sploosh, I always think to myself, today is a good day. So I'm no stranger to this area. In fact, I lived 50 years here in the Tampa Bay area. This is a little zone here by Maximo Park called Frenchman's Creek. And I can remember as a kid, I used to fish in Frenchman's Creek, just catching bait all the time. It's one of those places that when I think back about fishing with my dad over at O'Neill's and eating there at Skyway Jack's restaurant back in the day before we would go trout fishing, it just brings back a ton of memories. And even though I've been removed from this zone now for a good 7, going on 8 years, it's still nice to come back to the old stomping grounds and just look around, see what's changed. The fish zones probably haven't changed that much. What was fishy before is probably still fishy. I believe the last time I got to actually fish down here was with my friend and now the Tampa Bay waterkeeper, Captain Dustin Pack. And we fished most of the upper bay, some mid-bay stuff, and even ran to the south side of the bay. So this is one of those estuaries that's huge. It's probably one of the biggest bay systems in the southeast. But as many people that live here, it always produces. When I'm asked about the history of flats class television, I would have never thought that it would have evolved the way it has over the last 20 years. To be quite honest with all of you, I did not want to be a television host. I had to be convinced to become a television host. It's nothing I sought out. I was a regular, everyday pedestrian fishing guide. Was happy doing that, loved the relationships I was creating with clients. Along came an opportunity to be on a camera boat and help guide in 2 or 3 different situations. And in one of those episodes, there was a guy named Dan Larson who turned out to not only be Larry Dahlberg's cameraman, but he worked for North American Fishermen. And Dan said, you have a natural way of communicating ideas and technique. Have you ever thought about becoming a television host? I was like, absolutely not. Didn't want to risk all the partnership agreements that I had obtained over a long period of time to do something like that, because I thought that was like, yeah, that's not who I am, that's not what I want to be. Fast forward 2 years after I met Dan, Dan had already talked me into it. Dan should have been in sales. He shouldn't have been in video, he should have been in sales. He had a calm way of making things your idea. And it was very natural for me to do. But without his coaching and his little bit of a push, flats class would have never happened. But it did give me the opportunity later on to work with my wife, work with my son in a way that I thought I'd never have the opportunity. His group produces, shoots, does everything for the show itself, but they also handle all the marketing for my brand. So I'm at a point now in life where I just have to be me, and it seems like everything else just happens.
This place always produces speckled trout, one of the best ones on the west coast of Florida.
Another tough question that people try to, in seminars or online, try to get me to answer is, what is my favorite fish to target? And I literally will target the fish that's easiest in each season is what I typically go for. Now, most of you would think, because I'm the guy that's probably caught 25,000 redfish or been party to as a guide over my 50 plus years as an angler, would say redfish. But redfish is just one of those staple fish for me. If I had to talk about a fish that first got me invested in fishing, it would have to be snook. Snook were the most exciting fish. They responded well, just like largemouth bass. They were ambush predators. They loved smashing plugs. And growing up, that was my favorite fish to catch. You know, later on, it became tarpon. I loved tarpon fishing. And to this day, there's nothing like the thump of a big trout in March.
Nice, got a good one there, boys. Got a good one there. There's a good one here. Big snook. I mean a big snook. Just making some calculated casts down the edge. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to get them. See if I can hit my anchor. Saw a couple of these in the mangroves earlier. Oh, come on, buddy. Not the kind of size fish that you can swing in the boat, you know. Really big. And this is what Tampa Bay is known for, is these big snook. All right, come on in here like a little bass. Look at the size of that snook there, boys. That's a snook. Sometimes you just got to put the grind on, you know, and that's what I do. I work these edges. You know, the fish want to be on the transitions. They're big fish, and working that jerk shad on that gradient really paid off. You know, just working that trolling motor as slow as you can work it, and work into the wind and the tide where you have the most control so you can get a good hook set. Got to be able to get a good hook set. All right, let's think about releasing this guy. Put him off in good speed before wintertime here. These are the days that I remember. This is what Tampa Bay used to be like all the time. Growing up, my dad and I snook fished a ton, mostly along the bridges and piers and catwalks, but later on the beaches for snook. And it's just been one of those meccas along the west coast of Florida for snook. And then I got into big trout and tarpon, and even though redfish is something I'm really known for, that came along much later. Really never targeted redfish that much. We loved using bass gear, and we loved catching fish just like that big one there.
most people don't understand, my relationship with Flip Pallet was more of a personal friendship. It was more me asking him about business, about how the inner workings of your career happen over time. It wasn't so much like the relationship that he had with some other guides where he was a true mentor in the field. Now, there's no doubt he showed me a lot of things, but he had a certain way about him where he would reach back in time and he would just want to do things, well, what I would call flipmatized.
Man, that's nasty. That didn't work at all. See, his pole is different.
So he would cut off a perfectly good push-pull foot to put a guava tree branch or root as the main fork on the push-pull.
Last year when you started talking about guava forks for your pole, I cut this out of the woods thinking that one day it would happen. It doesn't look like much right now, but this is where the magic happens.
And that was something that he enjoyed doing. It deadened the sound, it connected you to the ground.
Now, if you can find a place to stand it up in that tree, in that elm
Up in
over
that
there
little
or something.
fork or something.
Yeah, just stand the fork up anywhere.
This is a perfect little spot for it right here. Everything he did, from the tackle, we would take tackle out that was more what I would call an antique, maybe from the 50s, 60s, 70s, but it meant something to him sentimentally that he wanted to fish with it. He wanted to recapture those times from long ago and put them in the present. And I had a great appreciation for that because I see myself even doing that at times where I don't want to relinquish something that I have been doing or a technique that I've been doing for a long time and accept the new way. It's just, I guess it's the natural aging process, but Flip just had a way of doing it. I used to call it flipmatize.
That's a nice bass, man.
Nice bass.
That's a hell of a bass. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness.
Persistence wears out resistance, my friend.
I'm gonna tell you what, that is a major bass.
Especially in a little body of water like this.
Son of a gun. Here, don't let him disrespect you.
Oh man. Now I gotta find a flat spot in the bank to go down and get him.
I think right there.
Yeah,
See the depression right there?
Hold the rod and I'll jump down there and get him.
Man, you did that like a great blue heron.
I know.
CR, that is a swell fish.
Good Lord. That's a bass.
Man,
Ditch fishing.
you are so, look at how happy you are.
Well, this is the epitome of a ditch pickle right here. That is a nice bass.
Look how happy you are. All right.
I needed that. I needed that for my own, you know, laughter. All right, Flip, I'm gonna let this one go. Like Bill Dance did it.
That might be pretty good, actually.
That might have turned out all right. There he goes. Oh, if
Well-
I could just blind cast, if I would have known that, I would have put a paddle tail on a half an hour ago.
You are the man.
Persistence, persistence, persistence.
Now that I'm maturing in the business that I've chosen, many ask me, what is the legacy of Flats Class? What do I see as success? And that has changed over time. You know, to start with, I was all about, hey, I want to be able to survive and make money doing this because I'm giving up a portion of my guide career to invest the time in building Flats Class. But probably the most important thing has been all the relationships that I've created, not only with clientele, but with partner brands, with fellow fishing guides over the years that I've spent a lot of time with, and they mean something to me, almost like family. Those are the most important things. I don't think any deeper than that. I really don't. Many may do this stuff for ego, or they may do this thinking that they're going to be in some hall of fame somewhere. None of that matters to me. Don't care, don't want it. As long as I can provide a space for anglers to learn how to fish, and I'm looked at it as that guy, and my family is happy with the time I'm trying to carve out to spend with them fishing, that's really all that matters to me. That is what the legacy of Flats Class is truly going to be.